Red Bull really give the chance for people that wouldn't see a Grand Prix car otherwise to see it on the street up close. So hopefully there'll be a lot of people come out on the main road, which is called that one. That one beside the lake. And is it a lake?
Yes, this is a necklace road actually.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is actually.
I didn't see anyone swimming in there.
Thankfully not. I have a view from the hotel. Alright, DC, before I open the questions to the media, you're an accomplished racing car driver. And you've done so much in Formula 1, for Formula 1, for Infiniti Red Bull Racing. This is about fitness in Formula 1, and I obviously open with that because very few people know that actually driving this car is really tough. So firstly, I'd like you to explain to them why it's really, really important that you guys are actually like athletes working out day in, day out.
Well, I think, first of all, from a concentration point of view, I think any of you who ride motorbikes here in India or drive out on the street, you have to concentrate a lot because it's pretty active out there. So mentally, that's always going to be tiring. Physically, a Grand Prix car is capable of speeds of more than 200 miles an hour, but the thing that's more impressive is the downforce. So the wings on the car work in the opposite way to an aircraft wing. So an aircraft, of course, generates lift and pulls you up into the sky. Well, with a Grand Prix car, you're all here just operating under normal gravitational force, but in a Grand Prix car, you have more than 5G. So 5 times gravitational force when you brake. And that's why you get these huge loads on the back and the neck and everything under braking. In cornering, there'll be up to about 4G or around that area. So the drivers tend to have quite strong necks because you've got a helmet supported in the top of your shoulders. And of course, it's incredibly hot inside the cockpit, so more than 50-degree temperatures. Drivers will lose 2 or 3 kilograms in body weight during a typical Grand Prix because you're just sweating all this fluid out because you're completely covered in material. The only exposed skin is where your eyes are for the helmet. So it's a little bit like going into a sauna with all your clothes on. It's not the most comfortable, but it's a means to an end. And I think part of Grand Prix racing is that the cars are fast, they're physical, and they have the latest technology. And I'm sure some of that technology has been designed by Indian engineers. Certainly the technology aspect of a country like this, I'm sure finds its way into Formula 1. I'm actually not aware of if there's anyone directly working with Red Bull Racing since I stopped racing there, but certainly all this new hybrid technology with the engines and what have you, very complex, a lot of software required and a lot of programming.
Okay, question about fitness, question about food, because you guys monitor everything that actually goes into your system. What is a Formula 1 driver's favorite dessert except the donuts?
Yeah, that's a good link. I don't know. I've not spent time with every Grand Prix driver, but the great thing about training is you burn more calories, so you can eat more. So I think all the drivers, I think it's not limited to racing drivers, but I think any sportsman, athlete, when you train a lot, then you have to be very conscious of the fuel that you're putting inside you. If you put bad fuel in, then you're going to get limiting results. So my diet today is a lot more relaxed than it used to be because I'm not racing anymore. But just all the usual stuff you would imagine with proteins and carbs and plenty of hydration and things like that. So not really, maybe chocolate after the race, but certainly it wouldn't be something every day.
Okay, David has some way to go before he actually starts cursing his diet. But the most awesome jawline in the history of jawlines, a race winner, the fantastic David Coulthard. Questions are open for him now. I'm going to just step down now and just help the media. David is going to take his seat here.
Okay.
All right. So you have a question? I'm going to pass the mic.
Hi David.
Hello.
Tomorrow where you performing, have you done a Reiki? Have you gone through that place?
Yes. When I arrived this morning, we drove along the road, we looked at the area. The team have been here for a few days already and they would have come out a few months ago as well to check the facilities. So, the road looks good. It's a lovely setting. I'm hoping that we'll have a good crowd of people that come to experience Formula 1.
Do you want some changes? According to you, other area?
No,
performance?
No, I'm happy. It's no big surprise because, as I say, the team, they researched this long before I come anywhere near the run site, so the track looks good. I think we've got about 650 metres of track available, so that should give us plenty of opportunity to show a little bit the speed of Formula One, make some noise, do our own little demonstration and celebration of the technology of Formula One here in India.
After Hyderabad, any other places you're visiting?
I actually go directly to Shanghai after this because the next Formula One race is in Shanghai, and I now work with television, so I have some filming to do there on Wednesday already. So I leave here tomorrow night and I'll arrive Monday afternoon in Shanghai and get on with my other job.
Right, alright. Sometimes I believe if I'm DC, I'm going to feel the lack of power in my car. Like suddenly I feel like I'm missing a gear. My Formula 1 car goes at 300 and my car goes at 30. So
how do you look to this year's F1 competition? How tough is it? And what competition is this year?
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
This year, how do you look at the competition?
Oh, the competition in Formula One this year?
Yeah.
Well, I think we're 2 races in. We've had 2 different manufacturers winning, which is the same as last year actually. Redbull Racing were able to win 3 Grand Prix last year with Daniel Ricciardo, and then Mercedes were able to win the championship. But if you look at the cycle of Formula One, there's always a period where when teams really get on top of the technology, then they tend to be dominant for quite a few years. So in the case of Redbull Racing, they were 4 times drivers and 4 times constructors championship in a row, which is incredibly impressive. So with this new technology, there's been a few teething troubles with just getting everything working and optimized, but once they get on top of that, I'm sure the team will be back and successful. In the meantime, we're going to see hopefully some good exciting racing between all the different manufacturers.
How is the rivalry between Hamilton and
The rivalry between Hamilton and Vettel? Well, they're 2 world champions. They're both highly skilled drivers. Sebastian was a product of the Red Bull Young Driver program, from karting all the way through to winning his championships. So he's obviously moved on to pastures new, but I think they're 2 great drivers. And if they have competitive cars, then of course we're going to see them racing wheel to wheel, which I think is going to be interesting, because I think Lewis is certainly seen as being one of the great wheel-to-wheel racing drivers. I think Daniel Ricciardo showed that last year as well. With his 3 victories was incredible how good he was at wheel-to-wheel racing. And this is something I think that Nico Rosberg has to show us if he's going to be able to beat Lewis across the whole season.
alright, we move on to the next question. Gentleman in the second row.
Hey David, hi. Well, there are a few things I need to know. One, I saw a video where you were driving near Ramoji Pacific, and then yesterday I got a photograph with the F1 car in Schumacher. So I think the car has been looking around, making its tour in Hyderabad. How did you guys keep it so low key?
How do we keep it low key that the car's been around here? Well, great team of people that have been part of the organisation here. So obviously there's, we appreciate how lucky we are to be able to get access to a stretch of the road, which is the Tank Bund Road, I've just remembered, from 10 o'clock to 11 tomorrow. So, a lot of organisation is required, and companies like Red Bull, with the people that they have part of the journey, are able to get to the right people and make things like this happen. And of course, it's for the people. It's for the people of India, the local people here, to come along and maybe there'll be a future driver seeing a Grand Prix car for the first time, or a future engineer, male or female, in the crowd tomorrow.
So how the roads are Hyderabad?
The roads?
Yeah.
Well, so far so good. I made it successfully from the airport to the hotel, and from the hotel to here, so no incidents. But you have a special driving technique here, which every 10 meters, I think you have to push the horn. It's mandatory, isn't it? Yeah. So we don't have a horn on the Formula One car, but I'm sure maybe the engineers could fit one for tomorrow.
Can you also tell me the tires that you would be using for the track day?
Yeah, the tyres are the standard show car running Pirelli tyres, which are actually quite a good compound. They're in terms of the compound range that Pirelli have for the Formula One season, they're on the softer side. So it's actually quite nice to be on these tyres because you get quite good grip.
One more finally, can you tell me a little bit about your association with for Fire, Wings for Life?
Wings for Life. Well, Wings for Life is a spinal cord research foundation. So what they are doing is helping bring together, there's a number of different foundations. You know, Christopher Reeve Foundation was a well-known one, of course, because of you know, his time in the movies of Superman, and then obviously going through his injury. And what Wings for Life are doing is helping bring together all of the foundations to make sure that the same research isn't being done twice. And unlike a lot of other foundations, all of the money that's raised through charitable events goes directly to research. So none of the operational costs comes out of the money that's donated. That's all taken care of by the owner of Redbull, and I think that there's a number of events that Wings for Life have done. One of them is the World Run, which will be May 4th. And this is a simultaneous race starting at the same time in America, in South America, in the UK, India, you know, many different countries. So it really brings together the world in running for those who can't, and trying to enable in our lifetime to find a cure for spinal cord injuries. So we believe that the research is you know, really, you know, gaining a lot of momentum. There's been a lot of clinical trials which are showing positive results. So you know, it's a horrible injury. Any illness, any injury, of course, is never nice. But this one is particularly difficult, just to live a normal life when you're in a wheelchair.
Where would you be driving on that for the event?
I'll be in the UK, so I'll be starting at Silverstone, the home of the British Grand Prix, and then chasing down whoever is the fittest person on that day.
All right.
How about the young talent is coming up in Formula One?
Well, there's a lot of young talent in Formula One and knocking on the door. And if you look at Toro Rosso, which is Red Bull's sister team, they've got a 17-year-old and a 19-year-old, the youngest driver pairing in the history of the sport. And they're doing fantastically well because they didn't just start driving racing cars, you know, a couple of years ago. They've been racing go-karts and, you know, professional karting since they were you know, 4 or 5 years old. So their whole, you know, junior life has been groomed towards being ready to race in Formula One. There was a lot of debate as to whether it was too young. But you know, if you look at the world of tennis, Boris Becker, the German player, won Wimbledon when he was 16. And nobody thought that was crazy because he just started young and he was fit and focused and talented. So I'm a great believer, if you're good enough, you're old enough. And thankfully, for those of us over 40, if you're good enough, you're not too old. So you have to, you know, find that life balance between having the sort of enthusiasm of being new to your particular challenge and having the skills to deliver. Yeah, there's a number of young Indian drivers that are making their way. I'm not working with any of them personally, so I can't give you details, but I know that there is, and there has been, as you know, a couple of Formula One drivers have come through. They never had the right car to really show their opportunity, and that's part of the key. It's not limited to Karun or you know, anyone like that. It's just about being in the right place at the right time. But you know, with over 1 billion people here, there has to be a Formula One world champion amongst you somewhere.
Hi David. What's your take on Indian F1 teams? What is your take on Indian F1 teams, and what are the key points they should focus on according to you?
And what, the Indian racing teams?
Yes, exactly.
Well, people is what makes a team. And you know, the name Ferrari doesn't make it successful, the name Red Bull doesn't make it successful. It's the people within that organisation. So, you know, I hear and certainly believe that there's a lot of technology developed in India. A lot of that is used by, you know, European companies, American companies, and what have you. So it's just about harnessing the right group of people, empowering them, and allowing them to be creative. Because Formula One is not just about following a set of rules and regulations. It's about creating technologies for the future that we'll use on the road cars that we're driving. You know, that's why they've gone to this hybrid technology. You know, of course, we've had electric vehicles for, you know, 100 years. They had electric cars way back. But to make them efficient, to make them powerful, to make them be able to be recharged quickly is the big challenge. But of course, the more you develop these technologies in competition, then it finds its way onto the road cars of the future.
Hi, what will be the top speed that we're aiming for tomorrow?
I actually don't know until I get out on the circuit, but with the length we've got, I would have thought we'll get up to probably 180 miles an hour or something like that. It depends on, it's one thing looking at the road and it looks quite smooth, but it's a question of is there any surprise bumps or anything once you're driving quickly. But is there a speed limit there for Formula 1 cars or not? Just for motorbikes, okay, that's cool. Well, I'm disappointed that we dropped away, and I've said this already, that it was almost like we came to India maybe a bit too early, because there were some procedural hiccups that when we go to other countries have been ironed out already. So I don't want to go into all the details of that, but we had a fantastic facility, a willing audience, but just not the smoothest sort of transition to the racetrack. So for the meantime, we're not here, but I've got to believe that this is such an important country that it matters to Formula 1. So we'll be back at some point in the future.
Hey, David. Yeah. So Redbull Racing's junior program has been consistently producing some really good talent. So can you tell us what the secret about that is? I mean, in terms of identifying talent, grooming them, what's the secret to such a good program?
Well, it's not so much a secret. It's just about watching the young talent in karting, seeing who stands out, and then giving them a chance. And if they show that they can then... I think we've been very lucky. I'm trying to think of something specific that I could explain to you. But when we did the event on the Worley Sea Link, I was pleasantly surprised to see how many people turned out for that. I think some of the biggest events we've been involved in, I think in Argentina, we had, I don't know, like 90,000 people or something turned out in the middle of Avenue de Julio or something as the main avenue there in Buenos Aires, and South America has a huge love for motorsport because it hits, with Fangio and everything. And I guess some markets like that, maybe we get more people, and a market like this where it's still, a relatively new sport. I dare say if we were doing a cricket match on the side of the lake, we would expect a lot of people watching because it's such a big part of Indian lifestyle.
Yeah, one more. You rightly pointed out that it's people which makes the team. Do you think it applies the same between the driver and the car? Is it the driver makes the difference or the car and the technology?
The most important thing is the car, first of all, and then of course the driver is the finishing touch. But you can't put the driver before the car, because if you look at Fernando Alonso right now, probably one of the best drivers in Formula 1, but he was qualifying 17th at the weekend because the McLaren Honda is not very good at the moment. It will become good, they'll develop that package and they'll come forward. But Formula 1 is tough. It's the technology required, the effort required for everyone to work together and create that success. And that's what makes the run of 4 World Championships so remarkable at Redbull Racing. Because they don't have the history to draw on. Redbull are a drinks company, but they, with the right funding and the right people empowered, were able to, within a 10-year period, take it from ground zero to being one of the best teams in Formula 1. So it's about people. Have the right people, the right car, and then the best drivers will always try and get themselves in the best car.
And you shared some of the tips on the fitness and also what exactly, how do you make your neck stronger? What's your state of mind? What's the exact preparation, before the race or during your entire fitness?
Well, the training program when I was competing was split into 2. So I did cardio in the morning, and I used to just do like a normal, say like an office day if you like. I would start at 9 with cardio, and then I'd do a strength session at the end of the day, 5 o'clock, and it depended on what particular strength session we were doing. but it was always during the off season, these two sessions a day. So by the time you've done your cardio and your strength session, you'd be spending 4 or 5 hours a day for 1 or 2 years, and then for want of a better word, dropped from the program. But just because you're given the opportunity doesn't mean that you always expand your talent as much as someone else. So, I think that Redbull particularly should be continually acknowledged that they're not just about operating at the top level in Formula One and buying in whoever the best driver is at that time. They're about taking it from the top and the bottom and squeezing it together like that. And they've been very successful. No other organisation has had that level of success, and it's not limited to Formula One. It's so many other sports. Here in India, I know you have a number of Red Bull ambassadors, but extreme sports throughout the world. There's a lot of people who have been given the opportunity to be professional sports people because of Red Bull's support.
All right, before the next question.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Michael was a great champion. He was very difficult to beat because he was so good. But I don't regret having raced at that period because his record speaks for itself. He rewrote the record book. And I have a few pictures where I'm standing in the middle and Michael second and Nico's third, or Nico second and Michael's third. And when you have days like that, I think you can feel that you've really performed at a high level because they were two exceptional drivers. They were both better than I was across the season, but I don't say that because I'm upset or disappointed. I tried my best. I was very lucky with the opportunities I was given, and I'm still involved in the sport which I enjoy. So all in all, I think I've been incredibly lucky.
All right, David, do you want to tell the people that our road cars only have like a honking area and probably a volume up, volume down? How many buttons does your car have on the steering wheel?
Well, when I first started in Formula One in '94, we had 3 buttons on the steering wheel. Yeah, and now I don't know exactly, but it could be 25 or 30 buttons. It basically, technology has allowed a lot more of the actual electronics to be down the middle of the steering column, whereas in those days we used to have external cables. So when you took the steering wheel off, it was still attached to a cable. So everything that the driver needs to operate the car, whether it be the pit limiter, the radio, neutral, reverse, engine mapping, differential, engine harvesting for the high